Hey everybody, here we have an Object 430 match platooned up with Arishtat's T62A and Garrigus in his Waffenträger Panzer IV. Arishtat also uploaded his perspective of this game, which will be linked down below in the description, along with the Postgames from my end. This ended up being a pretty huge game for him, with a little help from me. There's also something I'd like to speak about with regards to the Object 430 and the T62 and the 140 on this map. Now, the way I'm going to play this is as a scout and a harassing tank. I'm not going to go up the hill. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the central spot in E and F6 and fire both down the rails and up at the hill. Now this spot's really good for the Object 430 because it gives you good sight lines all the way across the enemy end of the map, and it gives you really good flanking shots on the hill. But, and this is a big but, even though the Object 430 is the highest DPM medium in the game, at a level 3000 DPM with my setup compared to 2909 for the other two Soviet mediums, the Object 430 actually has a lower effective DPM in this position. The reason for this is as follows. Gun bloom. If you look at how badly the aim circle blows out as I drive around in the 430 or traverse my turret, it means that if I'm trying to take a snapshot at the hill, odds are I'm going to probably miss or bounce in a T62A or an Object 140, I would very likely hit at least 75-80% of my shots, even just snap shooting with auto aim, because the guns are that accurate and bloom so little. But there's a trade-off, as usual in this game. Because the 430 is much more squat than either the T62A or the Object 140, and because it has better armor and better camo, it's actually a lot more survivable in this position, even though the 62A has a better turret profile and the 140 has better gun depression. So it becomes a trade. If you want to put out more damage from this position, you bring a T62. If you want to actually survive longer, I would recommend bringing a 430. The 430 also allows you to stay in this position longer without being seen. In this case though, the enemy mediums are doing their job. They're getting right up in my face. They aren't really firing on me, they're not cresting the hill, but what they are doing is keeping me continuously proxy spotted so that I'm lit for arty, and I am also lit for the tanks on the hill, which I am currently trying to shoot at. Thankfully, they're focusing on the tanks on hill with them. Now, I'm very lucky that the enemy 53-55 was busy shooting at something else. In this position, you are really at risk of being hit by arty. There is no arty cover. The enemy arty can hit you from any position on the map and will probably fuck you up. Also because you're moving very predictably, mostly back and forth to get shots, it's not hard to predict where you're going to be and drop a shell there so that you drive straight into it. It has happened to me numerous times. It's why I have to be really cautious if the enemy have an arty, and if I notice it starting to look around this area, I notice it firing at tanks nearby me, or if I notice it firing at me specifically, I have to relocate. That was not arty, that was actually one of the tanks on my right side firing from the hill, so for now I'm still okay. Again, the Object 430's poorer gun handling really causes problems here. That shot at the T-34 would not have missed in either of the other two Soviet mediums. But again, in either of the other two Soviet mediums, I would be in a much weaker position, armor and hit points wise. Although the 62 does have more hit points, I believe the 140 may have more hit points as well, I can't recall off the top of my head. The 430's armor makes the difference up, as does the camo. The Type 61 is now actually pushing on me, and I have taken a significant amount of damage. At the same time, it looks like the enemy's hill attack is beginning to fall apart. I'm also being still constantly proxy lit by this 61. The longer I hang around here, the worse it's going to get. So with a last couple of pokes up here, trying to get shots on the hill, I weigh up my options. The west isn't looking too bad, and the enemy mediums around mid are starting to spread out as they lose hit points. If I can get maybe just a couple more shots up towards hill and then relocate, it looks like the best option right now. The I-7's sitting pretty up on the hill. My first shot unfortunately doesn't connect. The second one does and pens him as he turns his pike to me. He also reared up over a hill while reversing there, which is why I was able to pen him so easily. That Indian Panzer on the hill would appear to be Chief. Indeed it is Chief. He is putting shots into the back of my turret. How very rude. Arishtat's cleaning up the middle pretty comfortably at the moment. At this stage I'm sitting pretty low on damage. I have 1278 on my meter. Of course the meter doesn't account for blind hits, although I don't believe I got any so far. And so I decide to shift west, pushing up past Arishtat behind his tank so I don't drive in front of his gun. And then I see this. This is very, very stupid what I'm about to do. Do not do it. He's not looking. I just drive straight over the hill, brazen as can be, sit there for a moment, take the shot. Thankfully whatever was off my left bounced off me. That could very well have ended in tears. I'm very lucky that the JPE and T-34 were not paying attention to me. I decide to run all the way west now instead of sitting up on that hill in the middle. I go for the bowl. I can spot from here. If there's one thing that I really like to do in this tank, it's spot, using its excellent camo and good view range. Sadly the Patton is actually having a similar idea. He's pushed up in a spotting position there, and he gets a shot through me diagonally and tracks me. I managed to get away without being artied. Panic shot there, unbelievably bad. But the enemy Leo just scoots straight past, overshoots me badly, and he must have a broken rack because he goes down before he can get another shot. Big thanks to Garrigus for saving me there. The Patton's still up and he's still very much a threat. The average roll of his gun is 19 more hit points than I have. Similarly, the 4502B is sitting somewhere in the back. I'm not going to have much luck pinning him even frontally, or sorry, especially frontally. Even if he's angled slightly, I'm going to have a lot of trouble getting shots through his side. So I want to try and deal with the Patton first. Artie is now on me, thankfully not shooting gold, or that would have been enough to kill me. The 4502B is actually battleshipping. I do not know why. Arishtat gets a shot in though, and that gets him to turn his front again. Still low on hit points, I refocus on the Patton. My shot flies high, I think, and dings off the top of his turret. That one hit the dirt. This is one of the hazards of using auto aim, although I do find it very useful. It will cause some issues like that, and a lot of people will say don't use it ever. I do think it has its moments. I probably am a little too reliant on it at times, but I don't have the sprightly reflexes of a Counter-Strike player, nor do I have the low ping of somebody who lives in the continental United States or Canada. I sit in the bush for a moment, just waiting. I want the Leo to catch up to me. He wants to run ahead and do the spotting run, which on the face of it is not a bad idea. He has a lot of hit points and can tank a lot of hits. On the other hand though, I do have the better camo, I also have the better armor. And it's just a 4502, right? My shot bounces, his also bounces though. The Object 430's excellent armor saves me, and right as I was going for a side shot there into the relatively thin side turret armor, Garrigus is able to finish him off. The enemy JP is not too impressed with his team. I can't say I blame him, although I will say that the game didn't really go anywhere until the last few minutes. The opening minutes of the match were very slowly played, so credit at least to his team for not all suiciding within 30 seconds of the match starting. He's distracted, he shoots, so I slip in behind, rush my shot a little, but thankfully it hit, which is more than I can say for this one. The mix of driving forwards and firing did not do me any favours there. That was my last APCR round, so my last 2 shots are going to be very expensive, but that's okay. While 2870 may not be a huge amount of damage for the Object 430, I did also get some spotting in, and I also kept quite a number of enemy guns looking my way instead of at Arishtat while he did all the damage. Ended up being a match I'm fairly happy with, and this platoon actually was quite successful and quite a lot of fun. Condolences to Chief, who got completely fucked. Anyway, I think that about wraps this up. As I said, going to that middle spot, it is really a compromise between damage output or survivability. You have to really know what your chances are. Against a team of moderately decent players, you know, mostly greens and maybe a few yellows with some blues mixed in, I would be more confident in a more survivable tank. If that was a team of 44%ers, I would probably be more inclined to bring the 62A or the 140. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. I wish you the best of luck in your endeavours, and I will see you next time.